Hey there everyone, it's AJ and I'm back with another video, and in today's video we're going to delve into one of Mark Crilley's latest tutorial videos, which was the 3-marker method of drawing backgrounds. Now I actually did this off camera, so I did the challenge, it wasn't really a challenge, it was a tutorial off camera. Just to kind of like get a feel to it. So that was the result, and I was actually really quite happy with how that turned out. But then it got me sort of thinking, how can I expand on this and not just do a sort of carbon copy of Mark Crilley's piece, but actually delve more into sort of different perspectives and stuff. And that's when this happened. The idea of this piece was to kind of experiment doing a bit more of a sort of dynamic landscape background type thing for this. Now, initially I've mentioned obviously that this came off the bat of Mark Crilley's 3-marker background sort of method. However, I am going to do full disclosure. I did do and use about 7 or 8 different pens. Now, that's not to say that these weren't all sort of different, similar colours, like I'd use different grey tones and things like that. But this was all about experimentation and making sure that I was kind of like getting the most out of it that I could. Now, I think I'll know what I'll need to do in the future in order to make this a little bit better, and that is use a sort of lighter colour, for the sort of mid-ground. In this particular style of piece, I think when I used the darker colour on the original one that I did, that worked quite well, but this time I need a somewhat more sort of darker colours, lighter colours in the sort of mid-ground, and that I think would bring it out a lot better. And it also means I can add just a touch of detail which is sort of not in the sort of original style of doing this. But that's not to say I didn't get a lot out of this sort of like little session, apart from obviously I've used up a lot of ink because I decided to do it on an A3 sheet of paper, A4 sheet of paper rather than like a smaller thing, which is what I probably would do in the future, and what I did do when I did the original tutorial version of this. Now, I was kind of like thinking of the composition for this sort of piece, and I actually got inspired a little bit by one of Ross Draw's latest posts on his Instagram for the Nemaverse, where it's sort of like the fallen log or whatever it was on the path, and like the characters walking along the top of it, and then sort of like the trees going up but starting smaller, starting larger at the big bottom and then going up and thinner at the tops, and that's kind of where I did that. There was one tree which kind of didn't follow that. I accidentally put a bit too much. I didn't give enough sort of variation on that, but that's against another learning curve that I can take away from this. Also, the tops of the trees I needed to push up a little bit. These were, I felt there was a lot too much. Is that even English? There was too much sort of void space, white space, or whatever it is that you want to call it, and it wasn't enough. And that's kind of where the whole idea of adding the sort of blue to the sky and stuff, and the clouds as well, which actually I'm actually looking at this as I'm doing this. When I was originally doing this, I kind of thought it kind of ruined the piece a little bit, but now that I'm looking back at it, it actually kind of like ties it in a little bit. I was struggling to find the right sort of colour and tone to do it. That's why I ended up going over it in the sort of grey tone as well, just so that there was that there. I kind of like didn't want it to stand out too much. I need to really have a look at my colours, I think, of what I've got for future pieces, so I can really know where to go for on these and kind of figure that out before I start trying to do a piece like this. Now, I really do like this sort of silhouette effect that I've got going here. And I think that just adds to the depth there, and I was kind of like adding stuff to it as and when I was going through like sort of more windy boughs of the trees and things like that. Now again, with this piece I might be able to explore a bit more on it and do in the future some more sort of tones on those sort of things as well. Not too much, just like having a play with the values and getting that there as well. I kind of left the sort of obviously detail at the back like sort of non-existent and gave that kind of foggy sort of effect, which is what the whole idea of this exercise is to do that sort of fog effect and do that. And I as a practice piece, I think it is quite good. It's not, I wouldn't necessarily go and try and sell this as a print or anything, but certainly as a practice piece, it is definitely worth, and I've learned a lot doing it, and I kind of want to really sort of focus on this sort of style of backgrounds and stuff, and I might be able to pull it up on the computer and tweak it too. Now I could move even further with this and add sort of, when I get to the end of it, is like add a more sort of almost cartoony style type thing as well, by actually doing some thinner lines on the trees, like to do the outlines. But I've kind of really been focusing on that sort of aesthetic where it's line coloured rather than actual line work, which is going to be strange since we're coming up to October soon and I want to focus on my inking in that month. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting sort of dynamic, and one of my favourite parts is actually the sort of bottom left corner where I've got the silhouette going there, and then I've got that sort of the trees and things like that at the bottom of it, and I think I've done that quite well. And overall I just really enjoyed the process of this piece and sort of just going a bit out of my comfort zone. I have actually tried this sort of thing before, but not really understood how to go about doing it. And that is when Mark Crilley's video came about, and I was like, oh, okay, let's have a look at this. And I did it, and I actually really enjoyed doing it. I think what I would probably do next time is, because I then went back into the background and added stuff onto it, it's kind of washed out a little bit of the silhouette effect that I got from the trees, which is a bit of a disappointment, and I don't want to really waste ink on just going over it again. So what I would probably do, which would probably actually help as well, if when I use a sort of lighter colour for the trees in the future in the midground, is go over do the main silhouette of the trees, because that's fine, I can do that, and I need that sort of there just so I know where I'm doing it. But then the boughs of the trees and the foliage and things like that would be sort of added on top of what's already there towards the end of the actual piece, and then that way I'm sort of like looking at that and can see where that is going there. But no, let me know what you think in the comments about this piece, because I actually really like it. It's not my best, and but it's certainly not my worst, and it is, as I say, a practice piece first and foremost, and it is something that I really enjoyed doing, and I enjoyed showing the process for you guys as well. So as I say, let me know in the comments what you think. Remember to hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel and the bell notification so that you can be alerted as to when I post more videos like these. I'm really happy with the sort of result of this, and yeah, as you can see, it's just turned out. It's not the greatest, but it is. I'm really happy with like the values that I've managed to get and the sort of feel, and I know that this sort of method would work in that respect. Oh my god, look at the back. Yeah, so I just know that it can work, and there is just something in that sort of style there, and I really like the sort of depth and feel that I managed to get. I might have been able to have done a bit better by making these middle trees go up and point a bit more, so start thicker at the bottom and then go all the way up. Maybe not to the top. I did actually originally do them right up to the top. I'm not sure how that would have looked, but it's something that I can explore. I didn't mean to do it. I might not do it this big in the future. I just might focus on making sure that it's nice, sort of like, because I don't want to be wasting loads of ink on practice pieces. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed making it. So until next time, I'll see you later.